I'm an idiot. I went back. You guys warned me, you/Nightmare Hound especially, but I couldn't sleep. The key was humming all night and I kept dreaming about that staircase. In the dream, the woman from the store was at the bottom holding my book and whispering, "You're already part of it." I woke up clutching the key so hard my hand was bleeding. This time, the store was waiting for me. The door swung open before I even touched it. Inside, it was wrong. The shelves were moving, not just shifting, but sliding like they were breathing. The section names were personal now: Alex's lies, Alex's fears. I found my book again, and it was thicker, with new pages. It described my last visit word for word, including me reading it. There was a new line: "He'll take the stairs soon." I heard her voice behind me, the woman. "You can't leave until you finish your story, Alex." I turned, and she was closer this time, her face blurry, like a photo out of focus. She pointed to the staircase, now lit by a single candle at the bottom. I don't know why, but I started walking toward it. The key was burning in my hand, and I felt like I was in a trance. Halfway down the stairs, I snapped out of it. The air was freezing, and I heard whispers, not just hers, but dozens of voices, all saying my name. I ran back up, and the door was there again, thank God. But when I got out, I wasn't on 4th and Elm. I was in an alley I didn't recognize, and my phone was dead. It took me hours to find my way back. The key has another mark now, a tiny flame. I'm done, I'm not going back, but I keep hearing whispers, even now in my book. It's on my nightstand. I didn't bring it home. This is it. I went back one last time, and I know the truth now. I don't know if I'll post again after this. If I don't, you'll know why. The key was screaming last night. Not humming, screaming. I couldn't ignore it anymore. I went to 4th and Elm at midnight, and the door was already open, like it knew I was coming. The store was different this time, smaller, darker, like it was collapsing in on itself. The shelves were gone, replaced by a single aisle leading to the staircase. The woman was there, at the bottom, holding my book. Her face wasn't blurry anymore, it was mine. Like looking in a mirror, but her eyes were wrong, empty. I went down the stairs, I had to. The air got colder with every step, and the whispers turned into screams, my mom's voice, my best friend's, even my own. At the bottom was a room, just a table and my book. The woman, or whatever she was, said, "Read the last page, Alex. Finish your story." I opened it. The pages were blank except for the final one. It said, "Alex burns with the Emporium. The key locks the door forever." I looked up and the room was on fire, but the flames were cold. The woman was gone, but I heard her voice. "You were always part of it." I don't know how I got out. I remember running, the key burning my hand, and then I was outside, the store gone. Just an empty lot on 4th and Elm. The key's gone too, but my hand's still scarred with a door and a flame. The book's still here, though. It's blank now, but every night I hear it whispering my name. I looked up the history of 4th and Elm. You were right, you cryptic librarian. The bookstore burned down in '82, but the records say someone was trapped inside. A man named Alexander. My name. I don't know what it means, but I feel like I'm still there somehow. If you find a key with CE on it, don't use it. Don't go looking for the Emporium. And if you see a book with your name on it, run. I thought it was over. After my last post, I moved 200 miles away, left the book in a locked box, and tried to forget the Curiosity Emporium. You guys were right. You ghostly reader. Blank pages or not, that book wasn't done with me. Neither was the store. I'm typing this from a motel because I don't feel safe anywhere else. 3 nights ago, I woke up to scratching inside my apartment walls. Not rats, words. I put my ear to the plaster, and it was like someone was carving letters, whispering my name between scratches. I tore down a chunk of drywall, and there it was. CE etched in jagged lines with a tiny door symbol, just like the one that was on the key. The next morning, my locked box was open, and the book was on my bed, its pages no longer blank. They were filled with new entries, about me moving, me reading your comments, even me finding the carving. I drove to a library to research more about 4th and Elm, thinking distance would protect me. Big mistake. In the library's archive, I found a photo from 1982, the day the bookstore burned. It showed a man, Alexander James Carter, standing outside the shop holding a book. His face, it was mine. Not similar, identical. The caption said he died in the fire, but his body was never found. There was something else. A woman in the background, blurry, holding a brass key. Her eyes were blacked out in the photo, like someone scratched them. Last night I saw her again. I was at a gas station and she was across the street, just standing there holding my book. I blinked and she was gone, but my car smelled like old paper and ash. When I got back to my motel, the book was on the dashboard, open to a page that said, "You can't outrun your story, Alex. The door is waiting." I'm done running. I'm going back to 4th and Elm tomorrow. The lot's empty, but I know the door will be there. I need to end this. Any advice? Has anyone else seen this woman or found a carving like mine? This is the last time I'll post. I went back to 4th and Elm, faced the Curiosity Emporium, and learned what it really is. I'm not sure I'm free, but I'm alive, and that's something. Here's what happened. I got to the empty lot at dawn, armed with salt, an iron crowbar, and the book. The door was there, just like I knew it would be, carved with CE and wreathed in cold blue flames. I poured a salt circle around myself, gripped the crowbar, and stepped through. The bookstore was back, but it was rotting, shelves sagging, pages crumbling, the air thick with ash. The woman was waiting at the staircase, her face still mine, but her smile was wrong, too wide. "You're home, Alex," she said, holding my book. "Finish it." I asked who she was, and she laughed, a sound like burning paper. "I'm the Emporium. I'm every story that never ended, and you're mine." She pointed to the stairs, now leading up into a red glow like firelight. I didn't go up. Instead, I threw salt at her. She screamed, her face flickering between mine and something older, eyeless. I swung the crowbar at the nearest shelf, and the whole store shook, books falling, pages screaming. I kept swinging, tearing the place apart, until I found a door at the back, not the one I came through, but one made of fire. The book in my hands was burning now, not with heat, but with that same cold flame. The final page read, "Alex breaks the cycle, or begins it." I threw the book into the fiery door and ran. The store collapsed behind me, shelves imploding, the woman's screams fading. I stumbled out into the lot, and the door was gone. So was the book. My hand's still scarred, but the carvings in my apartment are just scratches now, no symbols. I found one last record about 4th and Elm today. Alexander James Carter didn't just die in the fire. He started it, trying to destroy the Emporium. The Jane Doe witness vanished after the blaze. I think I'm him somehow, or he's me. The Emporium wanted me to keep its story alive, but I broke it. I hope. If you see a door with CE, don't open it. If you find a book with your name, burn it before it writes you. And if you hear whispers, don't listen. I still do sometimes, but I'm learning to ignore them. I thought I'd ended it. I smashed the shelves, burned the book, and watched the Curiosity Emporium collapse into cold flames. You guys celebrated with me. You nightmare hound, you cryptic librarian. Your advice about salt and iron saved me. But I was wrong. The Emporium isn't gone. It's not just following me, it's rewriting me. I'm terrified I'm not even Alex anymore. 2 days ago, I moved again. This time 500 miles away. New city, new apartment, no bookstores in sight. I thought distance would kill the whispers. But last night I found a new carving on my doorframe. CE with a tiny book symbol, glowing faintly like it was alive. I scrubbed it with salt and bleach, but it reappeared by morning, deeper, like the wood was bleeding ink. Then my sister called. She said I'd visited her last week, told her I was finally free, and left her a brass key. I haven't seen her in months. I never left her a key. When she texted me a photo, it was the key, engraved with CE, a door, a flame, and now a book. She said I looked off, like my eyes weren't mine. I told her to burn the key and stay away from 4th and Elm. She laughed, said I was paranoid, but I heard static in her voice, like the whispers from the book. Last night, I dreamed of the Emporium again. The door was in my apartment, not on a wall, but floating in the middle of my living room. The woman, my doppelganger, was there, but she wasn't alone. There were others, all with my face, each holding a book with my name. They chanted, "Write the ending, Alex," and the pages started filling with words I didn't recognize, names, dates, places I've never been. I woke up screaming, and my hands were covered in ink. My laptop was open, with a document I didn't write. Alex Carter, Chapter 1. The Keeper. I'm going back to 4th and Elm tonight. The lot's empty, but I know the door will show up. I've got salt, iron, and a lighter. If I don't post again, check the news for fires. And if you see my sister with a key, tell her to run. I went back to 4th and Elm, faced the Curiosity Emporium, and learned what it really is. I'm alive, but I'm not sure I'm free, or if I ever was. This is longer than my other posts because you deserve the full story. You've been with me through this nightmare. You ghostly reader. You shadowed pages. You nightmare hound. You cryptic librarian. Your advice kept me going. But the truth is worse than I imagined. If I don't post again, you'll know why. I drove to 4th and Elm last night, armed with salt, an iron crowbar, a can of gasoline, and my journal, which was still filling with words I didn't write. The lot was empty, just like before, but as I stood there at midnight, the air shifted, thick, like breathing ash. The door appeared, carved with CE and glowing with cold blue flames. The new book symbol on my scarred hand burned, matching the one on the door. I poured a salt circle, gripped the crowbar, and stepped through. Inside, the Emporium was a ruin. Shelves sagged like melting wax, books bled ink onto the floor, and the air hummed with whispers. My name, my mom's, my sister's. The staircase was gone, replaced by a single door at the center of the room, floating, wreathed in those same cold flames. My doppelganger was there, her face a twisted mirror of mine, eyes black as voids. She held my book, now thick as a Bible, its pages writhing like they were alive. "Write the ending, Alex," she said, her voice a chorus of everyone I've ever known. I asked who she was, what the Emporium wanted. She laughed, and the room shook. "We're the same, Alex. The Emporium is every story that refuses to end. You're its author now." She opened the book, and the pages showed my life, every choice, every regret, but also things I haven't done. Me setting fires, carving CE into walls, giving keys to strangers. I saw my sister's name on a page, her visit to the Emporium, her book already started. I realized it wasn't just me, it was spreading. I tried to burn the book with the gasoline, but the flames turned blue and cold, curling back toward me. The doppelganger stepped closer, her face flickering between mine and others. Alexander James Carter, the Jane Doe from 1982, faces I didn't recognize. "You can't destroy a story," she said, "but you can rewrite it." She handed me a pen made of bone, its tip dripping ink. The whispers grew louder, urging me to write. I refused. I swung the crowbar at the floating door instead, and the Emporium screamed, a sound like 1,000 books tearing apart. The shelves collapsed, the floor cracked, and the doppelganger lunged, her hands clawing for the book. I poured salt on her, and she dissolved into ink, screaming, "You'll never leave!" The door pulsed, and I heard my sister's voice inside, begging for help. I didn't think. I kicked the door open and stepped through. It wasn't the lot. It was a library, endless, with shelves stretching into darkness. Books lined every wall, each with a name, mine, my sister's, Carter's, countless others. In the center was a desk, and on it, a single book labeled The Curiosity Emporium. It was open, and the pages were writing themselves, my story, my sister's, every person the Emporium had touched. I saw the truth. The Emporium wasn't a place, it was a parasite, feeding on lives, trapping them in its pages to keep itself alive. I grabbed the book and wrote, Not what it wanted, but my own ending. The Emporium burns. Its stories end. No one opens the door again. The library shook, shelves collapsing, pages igniting with real fire this time. My doppelganger reappeared, screaming, her form unraveling into ink and ash. I ran through the door, clutching the book, and found myself back in the lot. The door was gone, the Emporium silent. The book in my hands was blank, its cover crumbling to dust. But here's the reality that's breaking me. This morning I went to a diner to calm down and searched for more on Alexander James Carter. I found a blog post, buried deep in an archive, written by a local historian. Carter wasn't just the Emporium's owner, he was a writer, obsessed with a manuscript he claimed wrote itself. He burned the bookstore in 1982 to destroy it, but witnesses saw him walk out unharmed, muttering about a key. The Jane Doe? She was his sister, reported missing the same day. No one connected them to the fire until now. I called my sister. She's fine, says she never got a key, never visited me. But I found her journal in my car, pages filled with CE and sketches of a door. She doesn't remember writing it. The historian's blog mentioned something else. Carter was last seen in 1983, leaving keys at bookstores across the country, each engraved with CE. I checked X today, and there's a post from someone in Oregon claiming they found a brass key with those initials outside a used bookstore. Another in Maine, same story. The Emporium isn't gone. I rewrote its ending, but it's finding new authors. I'm burning my journal tonight, moving again, and staying offline. If you find a key with CE, destroy it. If you see a door that shouldn't be there, don't open it. And if a book knows your name, write your own ending before it does.